Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to Mystery Monday, live here on Facebook. And thank you if you are catching the replay here or on YouTube. My name is Lucia Visentin, and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. As you hop on, do say hi. Would love to know who's about and where you're from. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend, and I hope it's a bit warmer where you guys are too, because here it has been freezing and miserable all day. We had a little bit of nice weather this morning. I got out for a walk at least, but the rest of the day has been pretty ordinary, really. So I hope, like I said, where you are, it has been nicer. We don't have many things happening in the Stampin' Up world at the moment. There will be a catalogue, not a release, but for demonstrators. We will get to preview it at the end of the month, and we will be able to pre-order from it. So if you wanted to do previews or pre-orders, joining and becoming a demonstrator is a great way of doing that. So you do get to see things and you're able to purchase things a little bit earlier as well. So that will go live in September. So I can't remember the date, but I'm going to say about the 6th of September. Good evening, Vicky and Jackie, Fiona and Glenda. Yeah, miserable day here too. Like I said, it's just not been very nice at all. It's pretty much rained all day, actually. Good evening, Anita. How are you? So, like I said, new catalogue. If anyone would like a new catalogue, I can't order them yet, but I will be able to order them the beginning of next month. So let me know if you'd like one, and I'll be able to post one out to you as soon as I get them. Good evening, Kay. How are you? The other thing is virtual album retreat is still available. I think as of Thursday, the replay will be available as well. So if anyone is still interested in buying it, it is still available there, and you can still watch the replay of all the tutorials. So you won't get the live interaction, but you will still get exactly what everyone else got tutorial-wise as well. Hello, Michelle. Yes, tonight should be interesting. Hopefully it's a little bit different to what other people have done, Anita. So tonight I am using the Sunflower 3D embossing folder, and it has been extremely so popular that it is actually on low inventory at the moment. So it is still available, but it is on low inventory. It is $21. But it is huge. It's pretty much the size, or exactly the size, of 2 card fronts. We do have a heater, and you can probably hear it in the background. It is on, but it still gets quite cool down here. My craft room is actually under the house. So this is the only room that is under the house. So it does get a little cool down here. So let us turn around and I can show you exactly, well, not exactly, but I'll show you what we're using at least anyway. Okay. So this here is the embossing folder. So that's the embossing folder. Now let me find a regular size card, because the card I'm actually doing tonight is a slimline. So a regular size card is this. So you actually do have 2 card fronts out of it. So like I said, you'll be able to get so much out of this. It is beautiful. Hi, Natalie, how are you? Hi, Anne. So what I might show you first up is exactly what it looks like. So I have just got some regular white cardstock here. And I have cut this piece of cardstock exactly as I would for a card base. So it is 21 centimetres by 14.85. I will bring in my cut and emboss machine. Now for this one, you are only going to need plate number 1 and then our grey plate number 4. Okay, I'm going to pop it in with the fold going through first and making sure it is sitting completely on that base plate. If it's not completely on the base plate, you won't get, the folder won't emboss everywhere. Hi, Jenny. Hi, I think I just missed someone. Oh, there's a couple of Jennies. Both Jennies. Joan, Renee. I hope you are all well. Okay, so let's get this through and I'll show you what it looks like. And the detail in it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So look at that. How beautiful is it? Like it just, I'll probably go through quite quickly because I'm just looking at mine. I've only been playing with it today and I've only been doing small portions of it, to be quite honest. But it is putting quite a bit of pressure on it just looking at this. So there are a few little places that they're not torn, but you can tell that they've been a little bit distressed. So do be a little careful. So what I'm doing today is, here are all my bits. I have got a card base that's 21 by 21 and I am scoring that at 10.5. Good evening, Helen. Embossing the envelopes. Yeah, embossing the flap of the envelopes or the whole envelope even, but the flap of the envelope would be gorgeous. So card base, 21 by 21, scored at 10.5. So I am just going to burnish that, as I've not done that yet. Then I have 2 pieces here. I have a piece of silver, which is 20.3 by 9.8. And as you can see, I have cut the whole centre out of it because I've used that for the rest of my card. And if it's going behind your mount, it's not going to be seen anyway. So I do have another white mount on that, which is going to be 20 by 9.5. Okay, so that is covering up that nice big hole that I've got in the middle. Then I have used my perennial postage dies and I've cut out a couple of squares, a couple of the rectangles and this little piece here. And that is basically what they will be doing on my card. And then I've cut out some silvers. So I've got 4.9 by 4.9 for the squares. So I will get a little mount around those. And then for the rectangles, I've got 6.1 by 4.1. And then this little guy is 2 centimetres by 4.9. So that's my starting off point. But we are using the embossing folder. So you might want to see exactly how I'm going to use the embossing folder. So like I said, with the embossing folder, I am not going to use all of it. I'm only partially using it. And I need it to be this way. So what I'm going to do with these pieces that I've cut out is I am just going to place them in the embossing folder about how I'm going to put them on my card so that my pattern does then all match up. So I'm going to do that kind of thing. When I've laid it on, I've tried to make sure that I've got some of the centres of the sunflower there as well, just so it's going to give that card a little bit of interest when I actually get it all together. And then on this left-hand side, there will be more of the petals. So I'm going to close that up. I'm going to bring my embossing, my cut and emboss machine back. And again, I've got that plate 1. I'll put my embossing folder in, and then number 4 on top. And pop that through. So what I am ending up with now are these little bits that I've got embossed. But we're probably going to need a little bit more than that, because that is now quite plain, and like I do have the white on white and I do have the silver to go behind it. But what I want now is a little bit more silver on it. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of embossing. I'm going to use my Versamark and some silver embossing powder, and I'm actually going to emboss these pieces, but only emboss the bits that are standing up, sticking out more. So let me show you what I mean. I can do it on here, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is get my Versamark and I'm going to drag it along the top. Drag that along a couple of times, and on this other side. I might do them all, I think, because I reckon it will stay tacky anyway. So I'm just dragging it ever so lightly over the top. Now, you know what I did forget? I have forgotten my embossing buddy, which is sitting on my desk right in front of me. That's okay. We will see how it goes. Hopefully it's not too bad. So, silver embossing powder. I have got some tweezers. So with my tweezers, I'm just going to hold it where it sort of dips down a little bit. Hopefully that helps. Flick the excess off. See how it's just all sticking to all the raised bits? I don't mind that. I think that's going to be fine. So let's just go on with the next piece. Pop that embossing powder over the top. And there you go again. So I'm just going to continue on and pop embossing powder over all of these. Yeah, definitely don't press too hard when you're putting your Versamark on, because if you do press too hard, you are going to get the Versamark in all those dips as well. But can you see how here is where it goes down, but there is no powder on that bit, which is exactly how I wanted it. And lucky last. And if you're like me and you've still got old embossing powder, this is a great way to use it up. I still haven't bought the new stuff yet. No, I don't. You're right, Anita. I think it is fine. But it is nice to have those bits without sort of too much on them. Like this one here. There's a fair bit on that lower bit. I don't want to load too much of it. I do have a little brush here. I can just take some of that off, and if some of it's still there, like I said, I'm not going to worry too much. There you go. So let's just pop those aside. I'm just going to put the rest of my embossing powder in. Good evening, Lee. How are you? And I'm just using some photocopy paper here just to clean up my mess. Okay, I'm going to grab my heat tool and I'm just going to grab some tweezers this time. I'm not very good at grabbing tweezers usually, but I think for this I will definitely need it. And we'll just give it a bit of heat now. I was doing a little bit of a class on the weekend as well, and someone was doing some embossing and they're actually heating it from behind. And they were saying that a good reason for heating it behind is so that the embossing powder doesn't move. And I've actually never really thought of that. Sometimes also sometimes the cardstock can warp a little bit as well. So if you heat it from the back, it sort of counteracts that warping a little bit too. Don't you just love it when that powder just churns? It's always so lovely when it goes shiny. I don't think it matters how long you have been stamping for. That's always a wow moment, isn't it? I don't think anyone ever grows tired of that. Okay. Go for the next one. There you go. See, I've always embossed from in front. I've gone to the back if it started warping, but that would be the only time I go to the back. But I'd never thought that it would stop the powder from moving. Okay, and lucky last. Okay, how much different do they look now? That just brings out all of the pattern on those pieces, doesn't it? So I'm pretty sure we had that way. That one went there, and that is the flower bits from there. Do you know what? There was one bit that I did forget to emboss. Let me see where he's gone. I had a little white piece, and I did want to pop a sentiment on that. So that one there, I have grabbed a sentiment. Oops. And I've grabbed it from the Everyday Arches, and I'm just going to use that hello because it just was, look at this, exactly the right size for that little piece. And it's always nice to say hello to people. It's a nice little card to send to a friend for no reason, just to say hello. So let me, you know what, for this one, let's use the embossing buddy like I was meant to for the others. Like I said, I do, so easy to forget it. Thank you, John. Funny how John's over there clicking his fingers saying that there's a message coming up, but it's obviously a bit delayed on my computer. So here we go. And I've just got the piercing mat under me as well because I'm using a photopolymer stamp. Get rid of that. Where did I put my... Bring my little bit of paper back in. And get some embossing powder onto that now. Flicked it all off. That wasn't very good, was it? Or do you know what else that could be? That could be my Versamark that needs a little bit of re-inking too, because I've actually got a fair bit of stuff all over this. So a way that you can get some of your little bits off is using the, sorry, I'm off the screen here, your putty side is a good way, but there are some bits, and you can see right in here, there's a whole heap of pieces. Just going to blow on it a little bit too. You can just use your pokey end as well. That helps. There you go. It's not too bad now. Got the rest of this back. And I will just have to get that heat tool out again as well. And we'll do this little hello. Do be careful that you don't overheat things as well, excuse me, when you're using embossing powder, because things can actually be overheated, and then it loses its shine almost when you've overheated something. So now what I'm going to do is use my glue and start popping things together. So let me get all my little mounts here first. I'm just going to glue all of these on. Sorry, I should take my scarf off. You can see it in the... as I'm bending over all the time. Oh, my goodness. The other thing is that silver is really slippery. So let's just take that glue off that went down the bottom there. And I do have a little glue eraser that you can get that off with as well. But there you go, learn from my mistake. Be careful because they do get slippery. Right, I'm going to put a decent amount of glue behind them though, because it's so textured, you do want it to stick properly. So I am putting more on than I probably usually would. And the other thing I can do too is just, as I'm waiting, I can actually just put a block on those to keep it all nice and flat as well. That also does help. So like I said, when you're popping this on, just be careful because it will slip and slide. And it does anyway when you're using the liquid glue, but more so. Because the cardstock's so shiny. Is it the silver slippery? Sorry, Jackie. Yeah, I didn't realise it was quite that. I hadn't had that problem when I was doing the other cards before. but I also wasn't on a live, which also does make a difference. Because if anything's ever going to go wrong, it will on a live. Good evening, Annette. How are you? Hope you're well. Thanks for popping on. Okay. Lucky Last there. Just pop him under there so they can all just relax for a bit. We will start popping this together now. So, do you know what I'm going to do as well? I'm going to do a little bit of spritzing. So I do have an old Stampin' Up kit box, which I use when I'm die cutting, and I've got my brush in there, but I also use it to do a little bit of spritzing. So let me find my bits and pieces. I do have, you could use a Wink of Stella. I have got a brush that has got water in it. Yeah, oh, I know which card you mean too, Jackie. That was gorgeous. Yes, that would have been very slippery. Hi, Elizabeth. So what I do have here is a Winsor & Newton ink, and it is silver. Now, the reason why I use this one is because it is more silver than our Wink of Stella. So I'm just going to open that up and keep it beside me, because I'm not going to move it too much because I don't want it to spill. I'm just going to dry off because there is water in this too, so I'm just going to dry that off a little bit. Dip it in and then just spritz. So dip again and spritz. So that's a fair amount of silver on there now. And I'm just going to clean my brush off. Just run a little bit of water and clean that silver off the end of the brush. So these old Wink of Stella brushes come in handy for so many different things. I have got, the same as everyone I'm sure, a plethora of them lying around because everyone uses Wink of Stella. I'm just going to wait for that to dry a little bit. I didn't really think of that. You know what I might do, just really quickly, is give it a little blast with my heat tool, just to dry it off. I did not do this with my last one, and I did smudge it a little bit because I do get a bit impatient. See how that's warped a little bit? If I turn that over now and heat the back side of it, it curls the other way. So like I was saying before, that's when that's usually when I go to the back side of the cardstock. So now I'll turn it over. That's pretty good. I'm just going to put glue right on the outside because I only have a centimetre border on my silver. Because like I said, all of that middle I used for those mounts, which was brilliant. So you do want to get as much as you can out of your cardstock. Okay. And then I'm going to sit this flat on my card as well. But we might just go ahead with these now. So on the back of these, I am going to put dimensionals just to sit them up and give it a little bit more oomph. And like I said, I just thought this was really lovely because it was just a different way of using that embossing folder without using it as a huge, big piece, which, don't get me wrong, looks absolutely gorgeous, and I will make some cards like that too. but I hadn't seen anyone use it like this, so I thought this would be a nice way of actually showcasing it as well. So how many of you have this embossing folder? Because it is, like I said, it's gorgeous. I love it. And I've only just started playing with it. I only got it, must have been last week. It was after my last live. It might have been Tuesday that it arrived, I think. But I've seen so many people do different things with it and just using different techniques to colour it as well. But I did quite like the embossing on it because it was a little bit subtle. Sorry, I'm trying so hard to get these in the bin and they are all going everywhere. Oh, I'd like to see what you do, Anita. Okay, so let me remember where they were now. So this was at the top, and I have, because I've made this before, I have measured it and I do know about where they're going. So I do often use a ruler just to line things up because I do like to get things, can't always get them precise, but it's nice to get them somewhere near. That's the top one. This is the bottom one. Just ordered. You will love it, Vicky. I'll use it a little bit more then as well so that you can see some other ways of using it too. Absolutely, it would be gorgeous framed. So this one here was that way. So like I said, I'm still putting them on so that they match up as they were in the embossing folder. And then lucky last is this one here. And like I said, you could just eyeball this. This just gives me a little bit more. Once you've got those dimensionals there, it is stuck. So we've got all of that there. I'm going to pop my hello in here. Now I did check today. This is the gold and silver trim combo pack. It is still available. So I am going to do a little bow and pop this behind. Now I don't know whether you realise it's actually silver on one side and silver and white on the other. So when I tie my bows, I make sure the silver's on the outside all the time. So I go silver on the outside. Then as I put this around my finger, this side that I'm popping through the loop is the silver as well. So that goes that way. Usually I can tie it with my eyes shut. Today, not so. Oh my goodness, I am all fingers and thumbs today. And you know what? It didn't even work. My goodness. So do as I say, not as I do. Here we go. My goodness. Don't think it's ever taken me that long to tie a bow. So what I'm going to do with that is sit it behind. So I'm just going to make sure both my ties are about the same. I will grab a glue dot. Whoops, everything on my shelf is just about to collapse. If you hear a big noise, that's just everything going. And I put the glue dot on the wrong side. That's okay. I'll pull him off and put him on this side because I want it to go this way. So there we go. Tie those ends off. Not tie the ends off, sorry, cut the end off. Don't think, just do. Exactly. That's the problem. Overthink things. There you go. That's nice. So I'm not going to put any dimensionals anywhere near the middle there because the knot of the bow is going to be enough to keep that middle of the sentiment up. And we'll pop that in the middle. There you go. We might just chop the ends off just a little bit as well. Probably a little too long. And let's pop this down on our card base. So glue all the way around. Make sure your card's opening up the right way. Again, I'm sure everyone's done that. Put their card inside out or upside down or back to front. So it's always good just to check. Just make sure that all sticks down nicely. And last but not least, I'll pop some gems on there as well. And I do have, I didn't check to be honest, but these are the basic, the rhinestones. So I hope they are still there. Like I said, I'm not sure. I checked everything else, but I did forget to check these. They usually are our basic current things, so I hope they are. So we'll go a couple of these. Let's see what some of this pack left as well. It would make a really lovely, wedding card or engagement card. I didn't have a sentiment that was small enough to fit there, so that's why I didn't. But you're right, Anita, it would do to be beautiful. And we'll pop one there. Let's get rid of some of my mess. How's that for sparkly? That is so sparkly. Still current. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I was pretty sure it was. I'd used them not that long ago. And like I said, for that background, you can use Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella would be fine. It will still give you a nice shimmer as well. So I have got this card, but then I thought I did have to do one in just a colour. Now, sunflowers are yellow, so we did have to use yellow, and I did use Darling Duckling. And I have done this one here. And again, all I've done with it is just scrape to the ink pad along the top. I've used the Darling Duckling ribbon for this one as well, the fake linen ribbon. I have cut it in half so that it is a little bit thinner, and I've done a double bow with that one. But the yellow one is quite stunning too. I quite like that. And I love the monochromatic look. You know I love the monochromatic look, but I do love them when they're just nice and simple. And then you're just letting the embossing folder do all the work because it is so gorgeous. You don't need much more on those as well. Thank you very much, ladies. Like I said, I hope you have enjoyed that. I hope that's shown you another way of using that embossing folder as well, instead of it being that huge, big piece, which is really lovely. But this is just giving you some other options as well. So all your cards aren't just with the sunflowers all over the front of a card. So we might, I might make some others, like I said, in the coming weeks, and we'll do some other styles and some other layouts with that too. Thank you, everyone. Very kind. Thank you. So thank you for watching. Now Thursday, I do have an appointment, so I won't be on at 2. If I've got time, I will come on later and do a tips and tricks. But Thursday, but later on in the day. So yes, that will be good. I will see you Thursday, but like I said, probably a little bit later. So have a wonderful weekend. I did mention earlier that I still have my card class on. Actually, I probably didn't mention it. My card class for August, I still do have another couple of kits left for that. So if anyone is wanting to join in, please let me know and I can pop you down for that as well. Otherwise, I'll see you Thursday. Have a lovely, lovely week, and I will catch you later. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Much appreciated. Red, it would make a gorgeous Christmas card. Correct, Vicky? Actually, that would be really lovely. That's given me some ideas. I'll do, like I said, I'll do some other cards with it as well, and we can see what we think of different colourways and things. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.